I can't be hired directly? You don't get my system. So my backstory.
When I was about 20-ish, I worked for a company named for a fruit that didn't sell fruit. Actually,
I worked for a primary supplier for them who was doing the repair division in a new location. Cast. Myself. Me.
supervisor,
Dollar super.
lead.
Dollar lead.
So I started in a smaller position and quickly moved up to repair evaluations.
Basically, if the thing worked when we got it but not after the repair.
I need to find out why and correct it. Management had to manually search every device in an Excel sheet every day to find the devices I worked on.
I took it on myself to design and implement an automatic system.
Given I was a temp at the time,
They extended my employment with the promise of direct hire due to this design.
it worked flawlessly for close to 2 years.
Right around the time I was due to figure out if I was being brought up or not, Dollar Lead starts playing around and avoiding the situation.
I contact Dollar Lead multiple times a week for the next month with little to no reply. I spoke with Dollar Super after Dollar Lead started ignoring me and not replying. I was getting desperate at this time to know whether I need to look for new work soon or if I would have a great job for the years to come.
Finally, I had enough.
I rebuilt the system I designed with a kill switch, so to speak, and hid it in the system.
I emailed this new system to ask the managers, including Dollar Lead and Dollar Super. They all liked the new update and praised my ingenuity. I let them know that I was the only one who knew how to design and operate this,
but would love to be brought up to permanence so I could train someone else if I were to take
vacations or something of the like. This was ignored. Edit. In light of learning I could be more specific. Here's an explanation of this kill switch. It's an Excel sheet that linked to another daily
generated file from the repair division. I created the link and was Microsoft certified in Office. Dunno if it's still a thing. It was back then. Haven't needed to be certified in forever now.
So I knew fun workarounds and tricks.
My email is tied into the system so it would automatically scrape the required info into another
sheet,
which was then parsed even more into other sheets.
It's long and complex but did exactly what was needed for the people who needed different sets of
data. My email was tied into the design very specifically in specific places. The data emailed out, if you're familiar with Excel, doesn't usually include the formulas to reach what's shown in the boxes.
I ensured it wasn't, as the higher-ups like to copy-paste to their emails onwards. Easy for them.
Easy for me. Finally, my last week was here and I reminded Dollar Lead and Dollar Super I haven't been moved to permanent
status.
I don't have a replacement for this position, to which I received the usual, "It's not that hard.
We know the system and anyone can do it." So my last day,
they have me start bundling out my last report in to close out my email and file system.
The kill switch was the part that was wiped in the device reset before I was allowed to collect my last check.
This wipe is to ensure I haven't linked my provided computer to an outside source. I guess.
Never quite knew exactly why.
They wiped my computer,
took my badge and ensured I wasn't sneaking any devices out, and wished me well. Fast forward a few days when Dollar Super calls me asking why the file system isn't working after I left. I reminded him that it was built on my company-provided device and I hadn't been allowed to teach anyone else the system before I left.
The silence as the wheels clicked in place was like hearing heaven itself. He immediately hung up and called back asking me to come back full-time with benefits immediately. I had already taken a new job interview the day before and accepted the position in the spot.
The money was way better and was to start the next week.
I told Dollar Super his offer had to beat my new hourly rate and effective the next day or no dice.
He never called back, and from friends who will work there,
That system had never been fixed.
And nobody can figure it out enough to reverse engineer it. That was close to 12 years ago now. I'm pretty proud of myself.
I am always shocked at how a former boss will call with questions after they made you leave.
I mean, who would answer other than to rub it in their faces that they still need you?
I'm in kind of a similar situation at work. I'm a machinist and very good at what I do. I recently had my first review after about 15 months of working here. Should have been 12. My pay was cut 10% because of pandemic shutdowns or whatever.
So I was hoping just to get my 10% back, only to be told if I keep doing the same great work I have been, then over time they can get me back up there in pay. Well, they totally screwed themselves. I'm moving this year in November most likely.
Which means I'm quitting then regardless, because this place would be too far of a commute. So now I won't even attempt overly difficult setups.
And I have them send the work out to another factory with better machines more suited for the job. I used to just figure out a way.
But now I go out of my way to cost the company more money at every possible turn. And I'll continue to do so until I leave in October or November. Literally a professional revenge. Live by the tech. Die by the tech. Treat your staff badly and live with the consequences. IAPPLEAUDU. It's not that hard, you know the system, and anyone can do it, right?
Building a system on a piece of hardware you knew they would wipe. Brilliant. This is the perfect example of corporate memory. When long-time employees leave or are forced out, it is amazing how much stuff doesn't get done or
is completely forgotten because it was just something they did. Good job with a revenge. I'm in the opposite boat.
At my previous job, I built a program in Google Apps script for scheduling appointments.
Scheduling times for kids to attend for tutoring essentially.
Basically, it checks a Google Sheet against a Google Calendar to see if anyone isn't scheduled for
the week and automatically sends a Gmail reminder to schedule if not. And also send daily and weekly attendance summaries reminders. I built it for the center I ran since I hated checking everyone by hand each week and having parents forget a session because they didn't get a reminder, etc.
And I only had 20 to 30 students, whereas centers in more populated areas had up to 80 and were doing it by hand tall. I eventually set it up for the other 7 centers since they liked it and it worked better than
whatever other scheduling program they were trying. I left with no issues in December for a better paying job.
They're still using it and plan to until corporate releases a tool for letting the parents schedule via web instead of emailing the center that includes reminders.
If anyone is wanting to automate something that's tedious, chances are you can do it very easily.
My current job has Excel sheets that we get an updated copy of each month, but that means we lose
any notes from the previous one. Used Python to scrape through the monthly new file and update a main copy with new, updated info and move stuff between pages if necessary. Also have a batch file, move all.mpg, mp4, and .avi files from any subfolders into specific folders for each type, so I don't need to dig
through a bunch of subfolders for a single file.
Also have a Google Apps script for automatically checking through a Google Sheet for specific
changes and emailing me a report if needed. It helps that I'm a computer science major. But there are a ton of resources for learning coding. And Google will definitely be your best friend.
Python is awesome and easy to learn for most things.
I recommend the book titled Automate the Boring Stuff with Python for getting started.
It's a fantastic intro to coding and specifically using Python in a useful way for repetitive tasks.
Can get it to work with Excel and Google Sheets, which are Mount's biggest uses.
but you can probably do just about anything.
I've got a PDF if anyone is interested. Edit.
It seems a lot of people are wanting the link, so I'll just attach it here instead of sending it
individually. Google Drive link to PDF. Make sure to copy it to your own Google Drive or download it.
I'll probably keep it up for a week or two. They would have probably fired you once you got it back up and running anyways.
Fuck them for leaving you dangling as a temp forever during some of the worst years of the Great
Recession.
That's just cruel.
Glad you one-upped them.
After the way they treated you, you're better off for not coming back.
I really like this story and thanks for posting it. You gave them every chance to treat you fairly, and when they didn't do what is obviously the right
thing to do, they had to eat some bullshit themselves. Definitely pro-revenge. Pre-planned and everything. Loved this story. Smiley face.
Nice. I left a place on good terms with a mutual love for all coworkers back in the early 1980s. I knew that they would miss me around the office, so I put a little Easter egg in the computer system.
Every year on my birthday, all screens would greet them in the morning with "Spudzilla is God."
It disappeared till the next year with a simple tap on any key.
It was fun to get a birthday call from my former coworkers every year until the system was replaced.
This sounds epic, but I don't really understand. Maybe one day when I'm smart.
Man, really sounds like Fruit of the Loom has no chill at all.
I love when arrogant people are forced to eat shit less than 3. Thank you for sharing.
Acquaintance of mine has developed several systems for city government in a major city that rhymes with palace.
He has placed kill switches in most of his programs, so that if he is ever let go,
several city departments will grind to a halt.
He's been there for decades now,
and the day he leaves is going to be glorious.
I built a kind of rickety inventory system in Microsoft Access for a workshop that I worked at while I was in college.
A few months back I got a call from them.
15 years later.
Because they needed to figure out how to migrate it to a new server. I was quite surprised they were still even using it.
I am on good terms with them.
I personally know the owner and his family,
so I helped them out, but I was surprised and kind of pleased it had stood the test of time. So that's why they went from repairing to making them almost irreparable and charging almost the same for a new part as it would cost for a new device. What a legend. You just revealed them who they really were. At a faster pace.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.